I'm not teaching, I am publicly learning, but hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 245, while 245 leisure and now gardening. So gardening is does it start with? That is on the page 88. While doing leg stretching, and if you participate in the leg stretching, that is at your own risk, and we're going to do some exercises quite long, so do them at your own tempo, even if you do them at your own risk. So leisure. People in the UK spend their leisure time in many different ways. Now it goes on with garden. And we're starting with stretching. So we're bringing both legs out. And we're having them together, so don't go to the side. And we're having a straight back, and we're leaning in front and pull the toes in. You can also do it like that. It's not so important if you have a straight back or a round back. But it depends whether you use your hands. I just noticed. If you use your hands, it doesn't matter. You can do it round back. But if you don't use your hands, make a straight back. So, gardening. A lot of people have gardens at home and will spend their free time looking after them. So many people have gardens and they also use their free time to spend time looking after them. Some people rent additional land called an allotment where they grow fruit and vegetables. In a way, it would be interesting to have numbers to all these things. I cannot imagine it was some people, if they're using some. They used many, and here a lot of people, and this is already just a portion of the population. If we say no some, is it 3%, 0.1%, or even less? Some people rent additional land called an allotment. So there's some people, and they're renting somewhere away a little piece of land. It's not far away, we need to get there easily. And where they're growing fruits and vegetables. Leg exercise, we're bringing one leg in, and we're stretching in front. You can also do that. An allotment is what they're called. Gardening and flower shows range from major national exhibitions to small local events. So there are gardening shows and flower shows. We had one with a Chelsea Shower Award, what was it? The Chelsea Flower Show. Chelsea Flower Show. So gardening and flower shows exist, and I guess Chelsea Flower Show is one. And they range from major national exhibitions to small local events. So they are not just like this very big one, Chelsea Flower Show, where garden designs from Britain and around the world are exhibited in it. So we not just have to wait once a year or have an excuse, no, it's just happening there in Chelsea, I guess, or something. It's 500 kilometers away, I can't go there. No, it seems like there are a lot of local events. Many towns have garden centers selling plants and gardening equipment. We are changing the legs. Here in front. So in many towns there are garden centers, and in these garden centers there's plants and gardening equipment sold. And these are not garden centers, so these are not gardens. These are basically home improvement markets or something like that. So yes, pretty much that. It's just for garden. So it's not a garden. That's what I want to say. It's not a garden. It's like a supermarket just for garden stuff. For garden plants, so plants themselves, and also the equipment needed. There are famous gardens to visit throughout the UK. Even more things which can be visited. So there are gardens to which people can go. For example, Kew Garden, Sissinghurst, Heathcote, and also Crafts Castle, in the REG Castle, Bodnant Garden, and Mount Stuart. And Mount Stuart is Northern Ireland, so people from Northern Ireland have a garden. And Bodnant Garden in Wales, so people from Wales also have no excuse to drive too far. And in the REG Castle in Scotland. And in England there are then these Kew Garden, Sissinghurst, and Heathcote. Okay, we're going to the next exercise. It is a car racer. No, it's not. Yes, it is. We're having the legs by the hands by the knee which is behind of us, and we're leaning in front to the shoulder which is in front of us, with the knee which is in front of us with the shoulder, and we're having 90 degrees with both legs, something like that in front. So in the United Kingdom, it's not only possible to visit garden shows, but also gardens themselves are to visit. For example, Kew Gardens or Sissinghurst or Hitcote, they are in England, or in Scotland there are Craig's Castle and Inverary Castle. And in Wales there's Bodnett Garden, and in Northern Ireland there's Mount Stuart. Here Craig's Castle and Inverary Castle, we already had that land houses had when sometimes, for example, was it William Capability Jones? It was Lancelot Capability Brown. It's not that hard to remember. Lancelot Capability Brown. He designed landscapes around these bigger getting country houses, and Gertrude Jackius, she made the gardens there. So we have here that country houses have big gardens and landscapes around them, and now we are also castles with great gardens around them. For example, Craig's Castle or Inverary Castle in Scotland. And the gardens of them can be visited. We're going to the other side. Into 1990 with the legs, with the hands to the knee which is behind of us, the shoulder to the knee which is in front of us. The countries that make up the UK all have flowers which are particularly associated with them and which are sometimes worn on national saints' days. So first we want to get what we have. We have the poppies. They are worn on the 11th November because they grew in Flanders where the First World War was, the trench wars. So red popeye, that is the Memorial Day on the 11th November. And then we had other roses. We had the red rose, that is the rose of Lancaster, and then we had the white rose, that is the house of the symbol of the House of York. And then together the House of Tudor, or together something like that. The red and white rose of the House of Tudor, I think was it. So there we have 3 roses, just to have what we all have, 2 flowers here. Now we're having 4 more. And each of the 4 countries, we're going to the next exercise. First just 1990, and Billy in Interest Show. And now all the 4 countries, England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, have a flower which is associated with them. And they are sometimes worn on national saints' days. So we're having here 4. Later. So England, the red rose, and England has a saint, St. George, and the St. George Day is the 23rd April. So some people are wearing on the 23rd April, the St. George Day in England, a red rose. And Scotland has the thistle, and there's not only the St. Andrew's golfing, the major St. Andrew's golfing, there's also St. Andrew is the saint patron of Scotland, and that is celebrated on the 30th of November. So it happens that on the 30th of November, we're going to the pigeon stretch, do it only if you know already how to do it, how to enjoy yourself. So on the 30th of November, there is the St. Andrew's Day in Scotland, and some people are wearing this thistle. The second one from the right. I don't know what is in focus. So this thistle. And in Wales there's St. David, the patron saint, and the St. David Day, that is on the 1st March. And on this 1st March, it can happen that people have this little, the yellow one there, daffodil. Somewhere. We had the daffodils. Let's do it again. Maybe we get it. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. If you don't get it. But that is a daffodil, the yellow one. That was where William Wordsworth. And Northern Ireland, the patron saint is St. Patrick. And St. Patrick, the day is the 17th March. So it happens that on the 17th March, some people having the shamrock, or something like that. The green one there. The shamrock somewhere. As a symbol, or whatever. I don't know where it's born, whatever, whatever. Northern Ireland, the shamrock. So, do we know more? England, the rose. And then Scotland, the thistle. Wales, the daffodil. And Ireland, the shamrock. And the shamrock looks like it. The green one. The one furthest right. Now that was gardening. The next one will be shopping. A little longer. You can of course do the pitch pause only as long as you want to do it. So the next one will be shopping. Let's look what we had here. An allotment is something which people can rent to grow their fruit and vegetables. An allotment. And then there are gardens in Kew Gardens, Sissinghurst, Hitcote, Crieff's Castle, Inverary Castle, Botany Garden, and Mount Stewart. We're not going to ask where which of them is or. We are going to the next exercise. First to the 1990 position with the legs, and we're just going in front. So the way do we have, and then the 4 flowers. So an allotment is something to rent, the garden centers, and when we have England the rose, Scotland the thistle is called, the thistle, Wales the daffodil, and Ireland the shamrock. And gardens which can be visited are Kew Gardens, Sissinghurst, Hitcote, Crieff's Castle, and Inverary Castle. Inverary Castle. Inverary Castle. They can be visited. Now we're through with gardens, so we're not going to do anything new anymore. If you want, you can do now a pigeon pause if you know how to do it already. We're going to the musicians. So we had Henry Purcell, he was organist and so on, and he wrote operas and church music, and he was the organist of Westminster Abbey. He was and is influential. And then we had here George Frederick Handel. He wrote water music for King George I and music for the Royal Fireworks, yes, for George II. And here Messiah, the Easter Oratorio. Gustav Holst, he made the planets, and the music for Jupiter is used for I Vow to Thee My Country. No, it was it. I Vow to Thee My Country. And then did we already had? Let's say we had not. Sir Edward Elgar. And he probably composed the whole cycle, pomp and circumstance marches, but let's just say he composed the first one. So he's best known for pomp and circumstance marches, and then the march number 1 out of these marches, and the march is called Land of Hope and Glory, and that is usually played in the last night of the proms at the Royal Albert Hall. So Sir Edward Elgar, Land of Hope and Glory, pomp and circumstance marches, march number 1. Land of Hope and Glory, Edward Elgar. Land of Hope and Glory, Edward Elgar. So that. And then the painters, we made the painters pretty good, but I think we're gonna first finish all the musicians, and then we're going over the painters again. We did them quite good, but I'm not sure if good enough. But we didn't listed many works, so maybe we know them all. We just don't know them because they haven't said us anything. But now to the authors and writers. Let's try to do the one with the many. Graham Greene. Let's try to do Graham Greene. That was our man from Havana. The Honourable Council, the Brighton Rock there, and the Heart of the Matter. Graham Greene, the Heart of the Matter. And another one bit difficult was Robert Louis Stevenson, Treasure Island Kidnapped, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We are just doing the last exercise. The butterfly stretch, the soles of the feet together. And we're sitting tall up and we're leaning up in front. So the 4 flowers of... Is the shamrock a flower? The 4 flowers of each of these countries. So England has the rose, and Scotland has the thistle, and Wales has the daffodil, and Ireland the shamrock. So thank you very much, and until next time.